Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and we are meeting for another love circle. And today we are talking about forgiveness. The way I have learned forgiveness, or I teach forgiveness, is we cannot forgive another person without forgiving ourselves. We usually think that, I am mad at somebody, I'm not going to forgive them, or I'm going to decide to forgive them, and then we try to forgive them and then we are not able to forgive them. And how we can tell that? Because every time we think about them or the incident, we are still getting emotionally triggered. So the missing part is that we don't realize is first, I need to forgive myself, because the anger we feel towards others, an element of it is towards yourself. That is where I am mad at myself for betraying myself, for not listening to myself. I broke my trust with myself. So that needs to be repaired first. And then we can take it to, okay, who else do I need to forgive? So that is the piece I will be sharing today, how we are going to master forgiveness, starting with ourselves, and then we can practice it towards other people. And forgiveness is one of those very crucial skill to have. It is a skill that we all need to build and nurture at all time in our life, because if we don't, we are unconsciously carrying around so much energy that doesn't need to be carried around. It can create an impact on your body. It can make you sick over time. It can take you into the darkness that you'd rather not go to, because it's an emotional drain. So let's first get into why it is so important. I just shared a little bit that forgiveness can, being upset with other people or that resentment can take a toll on us. So one of the very important thing to remember is the energetical connection you have with a person. Let's say I had a friend 10 years ago, we were really good, and then something happened and we never resolved it and we just fell apart. And now, deep down somewhere buried within me, I do still have a little grudge for that friend. I still have an energetical connection with that person. Now, let's say if that person became really, really dark in terms of they just became so angry with the world. They just went so far away from a natural way of being, which is calm, joy, and peace. They just went very far away. So that is low energy, because that's the challenge they were going through. Because I am still connected with them energetically in a way where I'm holding on to something within me, even though it's very small, even though it's very deep, even though I have buried it over 10 years. Because we are still connected, my high energy is being leaked towards that person every single day. The day I learned this thing, I became very serious about forgiveness. And I started doing it. I think I started really looking for more tools. How can I really make it happen? So whoever you're holding grudge against, whether it's small, whether it's big, I have heard women say to me, oh, that person doesn't even deserve my forgiveness. That person doesn't deserve it, but you deserve it. Forgiveness is always done for me. It's never done for other person. Think of it this way. You're chained with another person that you don't even want to be chained to any longer. But then you're dragging that person everywhere, and you're being dragged everywhere with that person energetically. And then you say, that person doesn't deserve my forgiveness. You deserve to uncouple energetically. It's not about them, it's about you. So one of the biggest reason everyone should make forgiveness a priority, really go through your relationships and look for places. Am I holding on to a grudge for somebody? Did anything little happen? And your unconscious mind will really help you. It will bring things to the surface for you to release. And we all have something. No matter how loving, forgiving, big-hearted people we think we are, once we get honest, there's always something little to find to release. And that is our work every single day, to be aware that I'm holding on to something within me, and also be willing to release it. So start looking. Wherever you find that, we need to work on it. Another thing I have seen in just my conversation with other women, sometimes we have such massive resentment towards the person that we are married to and we are sharing our life with. But then at the same time, that resentment is what feeds the relationship, and we're unwilling to leave that person too. Yes, I understand that's trauma bonding, that's this and that. We are not ready. We can stay in the same relationship. We don't have to leave it, but we need to work on forgiving that person, whether you leave that person later on or you don't. Because the resentment that we are going to keep within us, it's not truly towards that person. It's first towards me, then towards that person. That resentment over time turns into cancer. It's not a small thing to say out loud, because I don't think it's a small thing. And you can ask a person who have ever had any kind of cancer diagnosis, whether it was tiny, whether it was big, whether it took over their life. If we take the whole judgment out of holding resentment and not forgiving other people, if we take the judgment out of it, if you become very, very honest, and that person would tell you, yes, I did recognize I was holding resentment towards this thing that happened. I was mad at myself. And then as they resolve that, their disease gets resolved too. That is the magic of finding the root, releasing it, coming back to our own center. And all of that we can do if we are not judging. If we are judging, we'll be like, how dare you say that? It's such aggressive disease, blah, blah, blah. We can go into all of that. But here in this container, we are all about living our best life by being the most honest with ourselves and really being one with the power of our soul and growing beyond the human drama and human ego. So just putting that out there. That's why I would want each and every one of us to get more and more honest with ourselves and start this process of forgiveness every single day. It's a process. It might take you 10 years. It might take you your whole lifetime. It might take you a session, but you have to start that process. I know in my personal life, I've been working on forgiving, handful of people, and then a couple of very prominent people. I'm still working on that. Still, every now and then something will come to the surface that would remind me, oh, okay, there's more to release. There's more to forgive. I'm still getting triggered somewhere. That honesty, that takes us to a higher way of being. So just wanted to share a little bit how important it is to do this work. And now let's get into it. So one of the biggest mystery around forgiveness is, how do you know the process is complete? Now there's two sayings that I've been following. One of them is, I have it right here in front of me on my desk. Forgiveness changes the way we remember. It converts a curse into a blessing. So if you can think back what happened 10 years ago, and you can say, I am so grateful it happened because it made me the person I am today. If you're already at that place, genuinely, not because you're just trying to convince yourself because you have read it in other books. Again, we have to be very honest with ourselves. I will tell you, being 100% honest, there are parts of my past I am so grateful. I am so grateful that when I think about it, I really start smiling and laughing. I'm so grateful that happened, that I am here today. But there are still parts of my past where guilt shows up, where regret shows up, where resentment shows up. And my mind goes into what could have been. That means the process in that very tiny place is not complete yet. So I'm going to keep working on it, keep working on it, keep working on it. I know it seems like a very big mystical concept, but it's a very humanly possible if we are ready to do the work. Now, the second concept that has been very phenomenal in my own personal growth, I forgot the the author who it is by. I don't remember that, but it went something like that: um the heel that crushes the bottle gives the fragrance to that heel. So that means the person who has done so wrong to you, so wrong to you, you're able to let that person go. You're able to give something good to that person. So that is saying the highest level once we get there. These are all the ways we are keeping in our mind that when I get there, that means the process is complete with that one person, with that one incident. When we try to get over things already, when it's like, getting frustrated with ourselves, I've been trying to forgive that person from my past for past 5 years. Why it hasn't happened yet? That is again trauma response, where we want everything like this. But forgiveness is that energetical uncoupling. It's involvement at a soul level. It does take time. So now these are the two things we talked about so far. Why forgiveness is so important? Because over time, it's going to give you cancer. Holding that resentment within you, that's what's going to happen. The more we become honest about it, that I am carrying other people's baggage by holding on to them, the more it becomes urgent to release it. The second thing we talked about, how we know the process is complete. When we think about that memory, it doesn't bother us. When we see that person and we're like, I am so happy, you're happy, and I have nothing against you. When we get to that level, that is when the process is complete. Now, let's get into what is the process. How do we even start it? So generally, the way forgiveness is tossed around, it's like, why don't you just forgive that person? And, if you're the person somebody has really done wrong to, you're just sitting there saying, and how do I do that? That was my personal, journey. And when I say forgiving people, yeah, I know there are people who have forgiven. Like one of the family I know, their daughter was murdered in the most brutal way, and the parents just forgave the person. I know that's like very massive extreme example. We are not talking about that's not something I can even imagine. So those are the things we see in the news and we're like, look at that person, they forgave, why can't you do it? I'm a regular human with my regular human struggle. Somebody misled me, lied to me. I have had a woman tell me, haha, I got your husband, he's my man now. And I'm just like, okay, how do I forgive her now? Because I am really, really upset at this woman. But how do I forgive her? So I am talking about those personal challenges that us regular human who are not going to be posted in a news media or a TV channel. We are not like, these massive leaders. We are just regular people and we struggle with it. How we are going to do it? When someone has truly harmed you, manipulated you, lied to you, controlled you, and now you're just sitting there with that burden of that resentment and you're ready to release. So that is what I'll be talking about. I'm going to go through a 3-step process. The 2 steps are more theory, and the second is actually a visualization that we're going to go through. So that is where we're going to start. So the first part is understanding why it happened to me. It doesn't matter what the world is telling you. It doesn't matter what your parents, your family, your teachers, your mentors, it doesn't matter what they are telling you, but you need to understand why it happened to me. Just it's just part of human psychology. We need to make sense of things. If we don't make sense of things, we are just trying to ask ourselves to do something that we don't feel is authentic. That's like, when on the surface, we just we just, this person did something to you and everybody's like, just let it go, just let it go. And then you're like, okay, I'll let it go. And then you're just moving with that letting go energy. And after a month, you still don't want to see that person. That's when we are forcing forgiveness on ourselves. We don't want to force forgiveness on ourselves. We want to understand it, embody it, and keep implementing it. So when it comes to understanding why it happened to me, we cannot get there without understanding I am a soul in this physical experience, and I came here to do something. Now, what every soul has come to do here is to expand more, to expand and become a channel of more of divine light, to expand and become more like God. Whether you believe it or not, but that is the nature of the soul. That's just how soul is created. So when I came in this physical experience this time around, I also chose some very specific challenges that are going to help me become more light. So my challenge is going to be different than your challenges or your parents' challenge or my siblings' challenge, because they are my unique. But what happened when we go through challenges in life, we judge ourselves that there is something wrong with us, or maybe the creator is mad at us. That's why we are going through these difficult challenges. And other people will tell you that too. When I went through my challenging time, I got told by my loved ones, God is really angry with you. And that, of course, made me even more angry. That's why I went and I learned what I learned. So it's very important for you to understand the person who hurted you. It was a soul connection before you came here. That incident is here in your life right now, because that is the incident that is going to help you expand. I know we are looking at it from a very higher place, from your soul place, because understanding, looking at it from that bird eye view is very crucial for you to start the letting go process. Because if you're in it, you're in the pain and you're like, that person doesn't deserve it. But we are doing it for ourselves. We are not doing it for the other person. So looking at it, that whatever I have experienced, I chose it at a soul level. I chose it. I know it feels so painful when you first are getting exposed to this concept, and I have been through those stages, so I completely understand it. But once you start sitting with it, it also starts liberating you. That liberation, the start of liberation, is the first step of separating from that connection we are holding on to another person. Through our resentment, through anger, through judgment, we can start forgiving them. I needed to go through this experience to expand. That's why it happened to me. It's not because universe was punishing me. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's none of that. That is the unfortunate garbage that we start believing in as ourselves. But that's what it is. It's not true. It's something that needs to be discarded out of your own psychology. So whatever you are working on right now, whatever you need to forgive, first really sit with it at a soul level. I chose it so I could become more light. Yeah, you are not there yet. You have not expanded yet, but just understanding it, that's why it has happened. It's going to start creating a space within you. It's going to start expanding you. You're not going to feel so constricted anymore, because that's what anger does. When we are holding on to the stuff that needs to be let go, we're just holding on to it. We're feeling stiff in our body. It's going to start relaxing you. And now, understanding. The second aspect is understanding how it has helped you. Understanding how that challenge has helped you start the expansion process. Now, I'm at a place where, at least for one thing that I've been working on, I have already expanded. So I can look back and I can say, in these past 8 years, I know why it happened. I know how it served me. It gave me a chance to connect with me. The way I'm connected with my soul today, it was impossible for that to happen unless that incident happened. So I can look back and I can see, but let's say if something happened in your life just last month, maybe you're not there yet to see how it helped you. Maybe right now you're just angry at yourself. Why did I let someone treat me like that? Why was I so stupid? Why did I stay in that place? Like that is the way we are talking to ourselves. So that's where you can understand the version of you who got you in that mess. That version didn't know any better. The level of consciousness and awareness that version of you had, that was the best thing she could have done. I know from standing from this place, when we are looking back and we're judging ourselves, we are expecting ourselves to be further along or better or be there already. But the truth is that version of you did the best in that moment. This current version of you can look back and analyze and say, no, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done it. So when you start seeing that version of me didn't know any better, that was the best thing she could have done. You start to forgive yourself too. Because what's happening now, you're nurturing compassion for your past self. That past self could be from yesterday, or that past self could be 10 years from 10 years in the past. Now you're nurturing compassion for that version of you. And that compassion is already starting to heal. And that is actually the energy that's going to make you so strong that you can start releasing other people. Because now I'm looking back and I'm like, she didn't know any better. She did her best. Alongside compassion, I am having reverence for her now, which is one of the characteristics of soul. It's not of ego. When we can see somebody in such a high light, we can only do that when we are connected with our soul. When we are connected with our ego and we're looking everything from that place, we're judging everybody, including ourselves. But now we are looking at, that is the best I could have done. Now you're releasing your past self from the responsibility that why did she make this mistake? We practice that with our kids all the time. Or, if we are around young kids, they spill a glass of milk. And we're like, hey, it's okay. You have tiny hands. It's okay if it slipped it. We are practicing reverence towards them, wherever they are with those tiny hands and those tiny bodies. If they're just trying to grab a glass of milk, that's something to be celebrated. We are practicing the same thing for our past self. Now, if these two things don't happen, where you can understand why it happened to you and how it is helping you to expand, you're going to be trying to pretend to forgive people. True forgiveness starts from this foundation when you understand. You might are not 100% out of the pain and suffering, but you understand why it has to happen for you to go to where you're going. That understanding is the foundation to release. So now let's get into the forgiveness process. There are 3 steps in that too. The one is release and seeing that person going away from you, and also sending the energy of love. Because love is that heals everything. And it's energy of love, not the emotion of love. So you can think of a person, or you can think of yourself. That's how it will be easier to go through this process. Usually when I do it with my clients, I have them write a letter beforehand, but you can write a letter after this process too. Whoever you're forgiving, write a letter to them. It could be yourself. This is what happened. This is what you did. I am letting it go. The reason why it's important to write a letter, something happened when your unconscious mind is connecting with your hand and just spilling it out, all the emotions, everything, because unconscious mind is the feeling mind. And your senses can see that it's out of me. So you're going to write a letter to that person, and then after 24 hours or after a week, whatever is okay for you, read that letter and write from that person's place. Now, you might not be in touch with that person. You don't even know what happened to them, but you would write from their place that they are receiving this letter and this is how they are explaining their situation. And then again, give yourself 24 hours to 7 days, and then read it, and then write another letter to that person. So there's going to be 3 letters that you're going to write, whether you're writing to yourself or to another person. And once you have written all 3 letters, you're going to gather them and you're going to burn them. The reason we need to burn them, you got it out of your system. It's on paper. All the emotions, all the feelings are out here. Your unconscious mind needs to see it being burnt and gone. Because your unconscious mind doesn't know what is past, present, future, but it does understand fire. So when it's going to see that being burnt, you're going to have an empty feeling within you. If you're really tuned into the energy of it, you're going to feel the emptiness within you. And stay with that. Don't try to go on vacation or binge watch Netflix or go hang out with somebody. When you do get there, just stay with yourself. Go in the woods, be in the woods. Let yourself feel it. Your body know how to process emotion if you let it, if we don't numb it. So you can do that after what we are about to do. You can do that, but just doing that 3-letter thing is going to help you release a lot of stuff. Because when we are releasing, we are saying, I am letting go. You know, this cord that has been attached to me, I'm letting it go. And in those letters, the understanding also start to happen. So we're going to close our eyes, take a deep breath, inhale from the top of your head, exhale from the bottom of your feet, and just relax your whole body. And then inhale from the bottom of your feet, hold it in your stomach, and exhale from the top of your head. And now imagine you're in a dark room. It's a very safe place. It's your safe place. And there's 2 spotlights. And you're standing under one spotlight. The temperature is perfect. Everything else is dark, but you're feeling very, very safe. And now you're going to put that person that you want to forgive right in front of you. Under the spotlight that's right in front of you. They cannot move from that spot, but you can, because this is your safe space. And now walk up to them and say anything that you ever wanted to say. Unleash your anger. This is crucial to release. You might have never said anything nasty to them while they really deserve to hear all the nasty things from you. This is the moment to release that. Unleash it. If you feel like hitting them, go ahead, hit them. If you feel like taking a baseball bat and really taking all your anger out without worrying about getting in trouble with the law, go ahead and do that. Let that person take all the anger you have built up inside of you. Let them feel it. Give yourself permission to release this anger. Let go of that I'm being the good person just for this moment. Because you need to feel this anger if you ever want to let it go. Let your whole body feel it. Let it come out. Force yourself to let it come out. And when you feel like it's fully out, when you have said everything you wanted to say. When you have screamed in their face the way you always wanted to scream. When you have kicked them places that you never got a chance to do. Letting all the darkness that you've been holding in a corner for that person when you feel like you have completely let it out. Now tell them today, I release you. I thank you for playing the role that you have played in my life, for helping me become the person that I am becoming today. I thank you. And today, I release you. Now, using your imagination, see that spotlight move away from you and see that person move away from you too. They might be saying something back to you. They might not. And see that spotlight going far, far, far away from you to a point that it becomes a tiny dot. Now feel that person is so far away from you now. They are not close to you anymore. They are very, very, very far from you. That you can't even feel their energy. And now they disappear. They are completely gone energetically from your life. And now you're going to put your hands up in a blessing position while standing there, and you're going to send them love, the energy of love. Imagine there's pink light coming out of your hand, and it's going all the way to wherever that person is. They might have passed on already to the next world. Maybe their soul is receiving this light from you, and you're sending them love, and you want them to be on their soul path in the best way possible. Today, you're releasing them completely with all the love at a soul level, from one soul to the other. You're releasing them. You're letting them go. If they're alive, or if you feel like it, also feel the love coming back from them to you, from their soul, not the person, from their soul. That is only if you feel ready. And now you can put your hands down, connect with your body, and feel how it feels to be away from that person, energetically, physically, how it feels to not have them part of your psychology anymore, not have them as part of your thoughts anymore, or not have them part of your life anymore. How does your body feel once you have released them to this level? Just be with yourself for a couple of seconds, and then when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. So that is the release process that you would do as much as needed. Let's say you did it today, and then tomorrow you feel like you're still angry at that person. Just take less than 5 minutes, sit with yourself, see the person, release whatever needs to be released from you, and then let them go. I have been practicing this exact process for past 3 years. And the last time I did it for the same person, last time I did it was about a week and a half ago. And this time I was really able to let my anger out much more than ever before. When we have been wronged, that means a part of us that needs to develop is to be able to speak up and stand up for self. So in the process of forgiveness, you are nurturing that part. Part of standing up for yourself is telling a person when they have wronged you. Be able to slap them back when they have slapped you. Not encouraging fights, but we can always do it in our inner world. Because for your unconscious mind, the process that we just did, it's very real. Every imagination is real. So we don't have to go and, hurt somebody physically, but we can do it in our inner world to channel our anger out and at the same time release that soul from our burden. Release them completely. And another thing is, if the other person is very sensitive, they can feel that you're releasing them. They can also feel all the anger that you took out on them. So if one of your friend from the past is very energetically sensitive, and they are maybe reaching out to you after you do this, just know, sensitive people, they can feel the separation and the unleashed anger. They can feel it. And when you become very sensitive to this kind of stuff, you can feel it too. So I'm just going to recap it very quickly. We talked about why it is so important to forgive. In easy words, you don't forgive, hold grudges over time, big, scary diagnosis for your body. Second thing, we talked about how we know that the forgiveness is complete. That is when the person or the incident comes to your memory and you don't feel anything. You don't feel that tinge in your, in your body or anything happening in your stomach. No energy is being stirred here. That's when you know that you're doing great. The actual forgiveness process, it's very important to understand why it happened to you. It's from your soul choice. Understanding how it has helped you. And again, that understanding can take sometime many years, months. So even if you don't understand how it's going to help you long term, you can still start the forgiveness process. The process itself is 3 parts. First, we start the release. You write 3 letters back and forth. In your inner world, when you're going to close your eyes, you imagine them right in front of you. You release emotionally, unleash your anger on them, and then you see them go far away. That is when you are you're kind of rewiring your unconscious mind. This person is gone. It's actually one of NLP technique. This person is gone from my life. And then you send them love, because love heals anything it touches. It's also a protection for you. When you are sending love to a person, that person is not able to connect with you. Because one of the things that I've been having I've been on the path of understanding, when we have hard time letting someone go, that person is also holding on to it. So I thought, okay, I'm just dealing with the stubborn person. And my mentor helped me understand I am the stubborn one. When I am stubborn and I'm not learning the lesson that I came here to learn, to let go, because that is a part of self-mastery. Being able to let go is a massive skill that most of us don't have it. We know how to cling to other people. We're really good at it. So once I understood, okay, I am being the stubborn one, it's not the other person, I started doing the process all over again, letting go, releasing, unleashing my anger, just distancing from that person. And I did start seeing the impact of it. So I needed to become honest with myself that I am the one who's holding on to it, because sometimes even a grudge, a resentment feels like a connection with the other person. So we don't want to resolve it, because we are not ready to let other person go 100%, even though they have harmed us. So that is where the trauma bond explanation come in the play. If you don't know what trauma bonding is, we feel connected to the people who have harmed us, because in that moment, we have felt so vulnerable around them that we feel like only they can help us. I will give you an example, a very prominent example. If a mom who's not emotionally very healthy, she would slap her child and she'll just throw the child away, but the child will come back running and the child wants to hug the mom, because mom is the only person the child has known who would comfort the child. But then the same time, mom is being abusive to the child, but the child cannot see that abuse. So there is a part of that within us too, And part of self-development is being able to see that part and grow through that. So I really hope that this today's workshop has been helpful for you to start the process of forgiveness, because my wish for all of us is to have very happy, loving, peaceful experience of this life. So let's continue doing the inner work. If you feel ready to do this work on a deeper level, you can reach out to me and we can have a conversation about that. And I will see you all next Thursday. Sending you so much love. Bye.